sector is also an enabler of other sectors. There's other things you can do without technology, whether it's in education, whether it's in health, whether it's in agriculture. So what we are looking at today is not just another sector. We are looking at a sector that's also an enabler of other sectors. And last but not the least, the global competitiveness of nations is no longer measured by the quantum of solid minerals that you have or the oil, but rather by the number of your population that are technology savvy. And with a population that has about 70% as youth, Nigeria is positioned to have an edge in the fourth revolution. We must have lost out in the industrial revolution. We might have missed out in the second revolution. But this is the time that the Western world have aging population. Nigeria has the youngest population, not only in Africa, but among the communities of countries. Therefore, we are looking at not just defense of a budget of a ministry, we are looking at a sector that's the nerve center of our economy. However, for us to take full advantage of the potentials of ICT, we need to do three things. In the last few days, we have seen ministries and agencies come here with ICT projects. Honorable Minister, you and your team need to harmonize the very many silos that we have all over the place. People doing ICT projects that are not coordinated, leading to investment that do not give us the optimal returns as a country. This is the time to harmonize some of these silos. This is time for you to act as a CTO, as Chief Technology Officer of the nation, to ensure that we harmonize some of these agencies and some of these initiatives that are being carried out. And in this regard, I would like you to ensure that NITDA does its mandate of ensuring that they give clearance to some of these ICT projects. How do we explain a situation where in a particular ministry and its agency, you have a digital library project at the ministry headquarters, you have digital library project in one of its agencies? Pray, why can't this be harmonized? So NITDA needs to begin to look at this. And third and the final one is also the fact that you need to close the gap between your ministry and the legislator, because legislator are one of your number one stakeholders. So as we are here today signifying a new beginning, a new rapport between the ministry and the various committees of the Senate and that of House of Representatives, I have no doubt that we are starting a new journey together, and that journey will ensure that we build on our strength, we create synergy, we work together to ensure that we translate some of the initiatives in this budget into concrete outcomes that will enhance the life, the well-being, and the wellness of the Nigerian people. The focus is on this economy, is on this sector, and I have no doubt that you are the right person for the position and that you have a team that can deliver on your side. And on this part as well, we have people who are willing and ready to work with you. On this note, I welcome you once again, Mr. Honorable Minister, and I invite you to make your presentations of 2024 performance.
Chairman for the co-chairs for today's session. An existing protocol. I think, Mr. Chairman, you've painted a picture that is not only compelling, but I believe is a call to action, not just for the ministry, but for every well-meaning Nigerian. When I got the opportunity to serve in this capacity, of course, I took it with all sense of responsibility and humility, but also being aware as a professional coming from the sector, the weight that has been put on my shoulder. But of course, I was extremely also excited to learn that the committees that we'll be working with at the National Assembly are being led by professionals from within the sector. But I think most importantly, an experienced former minister as well. And I'd like to use this opportunity to appreciate all the chairs for the support and guidance that you've given me. Yes, on surface, we've not been visiting the National Assembly as much as we should be, but I believe that we've been engaging to share our dreams, visions, but also the challenges that we faced as a ministry. Honorable members, distinguished senators, I'd like to again reiterate the picture that has been painted, that industry which was established in 2011 represents the future that we all dream of for our country. Today, there's absolutely no nation that can talk about security without prioritizing communications and digital technologies. These technologies, they offer us a unique opportunity to be able to raise the level of productivity across our key sectors. As such,
can we have some quiet, please? Class, please control this guy, this crowd.
My friend, please keep the gate like this.
Please continue.
Thank you so much, Chairman. These technologies that we are all collectively responsible for offer Nigeria and any nation, by the way, the opportunity to leapfrog development, but also close the gaps as well. Historically, it's been demonstrated that technologies have been helpers of humanity. There's been no nation that has been able to develop without prioritizing the application of technology. Also, historically, countries like ours have been extremely disadvantaged because of the development that we've seen in the evolution of these technologies, which has been led by specifications all over the world, thereby making it difficult for countries like Nigeria to catch up. But the emergence of digital technologies disrupted the play of how technologies are appropriated. The barrier became extremely low for countries that are willing to push forward. And historically, Nigeria as a country stepped up in 1999 to deregulate our telecommunications sector. This deregulation led to a vibrant sector which has attracted significant investment into the development of the telecommunications sector in Nigeria, which makes it the highest grossing on the African continent today. So the largest and most communication sector in Africa is in Nigeria. As such, we've seen significant investment in this sector, helping us to raise the level of productivity significantly and indirectly raising the gross domestic product of our nation as well. So if you follow the growth in the sector since 1999, you will see that our GDP has been growing almost 30% year on year. And when you look at development in the country, there are not that many other movements that you can point to but the deregulation of this sector. However, there's been significant changes in the sector since this time as well. It's gone from being a sector that is responsible for just telecommunications into evolving as the digital economy, which is the backbone of every sector. Whether you talk about agriculture, you can see the role of smart technologies in leapfrogging development in the agricultural space. Security today is impossible without a robust communications infrastructure in any nation. Our education system is begging for the introduction of digital technologies, but also communications technologies. We've seen the contribution of the technologies that we're responsible for on the entertainment sector in Nigeria. Nollywood has always been there, but the emergence of our communications technology led to a significant growth of that sector. We've also seen the contribution of digital technologies to the startup ecosystem in Nigeria, moving us from a country that was not even part of the top 10 destination for technology startup funding to becoming number 1 or 2, with about 7 unicorns. These are businesses that are worth over $1 billion, originating from Nigeria. Upon my appointment, the ministry decided to conduct a thorough review of everything that has been achieved by this sector, recognizing that our country is a country which is having about 5 million new people every year, projected to grow to 500 million people by 2050 in just about 20-25 years time from now, with an average age of 16.7 and a growing disconnect all over the world, not just in Nigeria, between the people and their leaders. It was a such imperative that we put together an agenda that will help achieve Mr. President's set agenda, the Renewed Hope agenda. Notably, the goal of driving a $1 trillion economy. To this end, the ministry decided to come up with a strategic blueprint. This strategic blueprint focused on 5 key pillars. One, which is knowledge as the foundation, and you can find this on page 7. Recognizing that it is impossible for us to appropriate technology without a strong workforce, but also recognizing that there's a significant gap in global technology workforce. Most European countries are aging in population and they're not giving birth to new kids, which means there's an opportunity for Nigeria to become a net exporter of technology talent. And also in line with Mr. President's agenda of creating 1 million technical jobs, we saw a unique opportunity for our ministry to contribute to this agenda. In addition to this, we also saw the clarity in the need for us to ensure that our policies are forward-thinking, but also responsible for driving innovation, which is why we came up with about 10 different policies that must be enhanced or in some cases totally redesigned, including the National Digital Economy and E-Governance Bill that is being led by some of our chairmen in the room today. We also saw the need to drive up the growth and strengthen our digital infrastructure, recognizing that we cannot grow our digital economy if we have a weak foundation, which is the digital infrastructure. An example is the fiber optic network that is required to drive digital economy in the country, which historically the study has shown that must be around 120,000 kilometers and above, but we currently have about 35,000 to 40,000.
Honourable Minister,
yes?
I know you have prepared a lot, and I also know this is your first time of coming, so you want to offload as much information as possible, and we truly appreciate that. But because there are so many other competing committee meetings, and so just give us a highlight about the 5-point agenda, the 2024 budget performance, and then the outlook for 2025. 2025, we may need to organize another session to fully immerse ourselves in those 5-point agenda. They are making a lot of sense, but because of we have also budgeted time, and we don't want to do budget of our own for the time. So please summarize those preliminary preambles, then talk about 2024 highlights, then let's talk about 2025 very briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the picture I was trying to paint, which again is to reiterate the importance of our sector, is first to make a case that this is a ministry that is extremely underfunded. And this is our collective responsibility, not just as a ministry, but also as committees responsible for oversight of the work that we do. This ministry is unable to deliver its mandate if we continue to fund it the way it's been funded. In fact, to achieve what we've achieved so far, we've had to look for money from outside of government to get work done. A lot of the international trips that we've made to secure opportunities for this sector and the nation were funded from outside of government's pocket. So I think before we even go into the budget, it is extremely important that we put emphasis on the fact that this is a ministry that is poorly funded. So the budget we're about to discuss today is actually not a significant worth of the time of all of us in this room, because this budget cannot deliver on the mandate that we should be working on for our nation. And I think at that point, I will go into the budget. Speaking specifically, okay. Speaking specifically to the 2024 budget, which you can find on page 9. The first line, which is personnel budget.
Okay, share this. Go. We're going to have 3 copies. Let's share for the meantime. All right, Minister, please go on.
The personnel budget allocated for 2024 came to 1,263,650,235 naira.
Just focus on the capital.
The capital, okay. The capital budget released was 2,973,557,866 naira. As you can see, amount released till date is less than half of this budget, which came to 1,263,180,766 naira, which has been fully spent, thus representing 39% of the total budget. In terms of budget.
For those who may not have a copy of this, what the minister is saying is that in 2024, the entire ministry and the sector called Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, the total capital budget was 2.9 billion, out of which only 1.2 billion was released. And I think that's the point we want to emphasize, that 2.9 billion was the total capital budget appropriated, out of which only 1.2 billion. So an average of 40%. 100 million per month for the capital project of Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy. You can now move to 2025.
Thank you so much, and I wasn't trying to waste your time, just to paint the picture the German Chancellor visited our president last year, reiterating the fact that there's a huge technical talent gap in Germany. And there's the fact that there's opportunity for young Nigerians to either work remotely or actually come to Germany for work in the technical space. We prioritized our technical training program. That program alone, just to be able to train about 160,000 people, we've raised over 2.5 billion from the private sector. And this is money they paid directly to over 100 organizations across the country. The money doesn't come to government, goes straight to, they're using Lagos Business School to disperse the money. And just to give an example, that is one program alone. The entire budget, the entire figure that we've been able to raise is actually more than what's been allocated to this sector. So we do have a significant problem that the work that we're meant to do for the nation will be impossible if we continue with this sort of budgeting for a ministry this important. As directed by Mr. Chairman, I will now go into 2025 budget. Again, we received an indication. I think we prepared initially a budget that, to the best of our understanding, was extremely modest, that will also leverage the focus of the ministry to help the government achieve the objectives that was stated in the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. In fact, what we did was when MTEF was released, we gathered all the agencies under the ministry, and we came up with a strong plan on how we can support the goals of the government. As you can remember, the collective national target for GDP growth for 2025 is 4.6%, and 2026 in the MTEF is projected at 4.4%, and 2027 is 5.5%. If we follow development in the sector, where we've been contributing about 16 to 18% to the GDP, there's strong clarity that for the country to achieve these numbers, that our sector must contribute significantly. We decided to put together a budget that I believe was just at about 12 billion, but also the cap that we released for our ministry came to about 6 billion thereabouts. And this is what's informed what we've put together. However, if you're looking at the appropriation bill, you will find that one of the things that we've done, traveling all over the world, engaging with the World Bank, is to believe that we should create opportunity for our sector, that we must create opportunities for stakeholders in this sector by ensuring that Nigeria can significantly invest in the strong backbone to drive the growth that we need to see. If you look at the numbers from the World Bank, it says if you're able to improve the quality of connectivity by 10%, you will be adding at about 2.5% growth rate to the economy. There's no other significant investment that is known today in any country that can lead to 2.5% increase. Which means if you take the current growth rate of our GDP, if our sector is able to contribute 2.5% to the GDP of Nigeria, Nigeria will actually be doing much more than 4.6% that we're talking about today, because this sector is extremely critical. And this is why we've made very spirited arguments to funders. Without any funding to propose the case, we've worked hard internally as professionals and political appointees, also with the support of the committee chairs, to secure the commitment of the World Bank, AFDB, and a number of other DFIs to help us invest in a $2 billion project that will lay 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables across this country. And our hope is that this will not just provide opportunities for existing MNOs. This will help us create new small businesses that will be responsible for laying 90,000 kilometers of fiber network. This will help us create nothing less than 10,000 jobs of young men and women that will drive the deployment of this cable all over our country. The 90,000 kilometers cable will be everywhere in the country. This is the plan that has been made by the broadband plan that has been there from the previous administration that we've also reassessed, and we've seen the need to execute on this. We believe that this will stir up things in the economy. This will give stakeholders the opportunity to create wealth and prosperity. And this will also give us a significant chance to contribute to the growth of our GDP. But not stopping there, this same investment will ensure that we have meaningful connectivity all over our country. That young women, men will not have to travel from my village in Abeokuta to go to Lagos, or travel from Zamfara to go to Kano for economic opportunities. That wherever they find themselves in the country, they will be able to participate in the global digital economy. So you can see that fortunately for us, Mr. President and Federal Executive Council approved this project last year, and this has been identified and included in the budget for the ministry. But again, when you go away from this, you will then see that the ministry, though we've made progress, we're still back at about 6 billion for our capital projects. Just to put it in context, I was in Geneva with the International Trade Center, the International Telecommunications Union, and I was informed that the EU alone has 45 million euros allocated to digital economy in Nigeria. And for those who work with these institutions, as much as they engage, they also have their programs and they control the spending of the budgets. Our ministry, we've tried heavily to work with them to ensure that they can direct this funding towards what we want to achieve as a nation. But the statement here is to call our attention to the fact that even our own budget is not up to 20% of what the EU has budgeted for our sector. So we still have significant shortage in this sector. And in closing, I'd like to again point to what Mr. Chairman has mentioned, that the biggest challenge we have as a sector is actually the fact that every MDA in the land has strong budgets for ICT, that we have no contribution to. And the call for us to have stronger policies and measures for demanding engagement is not just so that we can control this budget, it's to help the country save money. Because what we're seeing today is a waste of significant resources being duplicated in many MDAs. If we have strong oversight from the National Assembly to NITDA and to the audit committees that may be responsible for ensuring that these resources are used appropriately, collectively we'll be able to help guide the nation to using these resources effectively. I will stop here for now, and not to take too many more of your time. And I believe that with the team, we'll be more than happy to answer specific questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I've listened to your presentation attentively, and I think there are 5 takeaways. Number 1, your 2024 budget was 2.9 billion out of capital, out of which 39% of 1.2 billion was released to run the sector. A sector that contributes about 13-14% to our national GDP.
18%.
18%. The second takeaway was that you had to resort to private sector and donor organizations. I use the example of the 3MTT project that you have trained 160,000 youth. And the support for that came from private sector organizations who contributed 2.5 billion, which was more than the entire capital appropriation for your ministry. And in 2025, the capital project, the capital allocation using the envelope system was also only 6 billion. However, the figure that we have seen in the capital proposal now is as a result of World Bank loans that the Federal Executive Council had approved. to power the 90,000 kilometers of fiber across the country, because 10% increase in our connectivity will lead to at least 2.5 increase in our GDP. Finally, you also said there are a number of ICT budgets in various ministries and agencies that if we aggregated them together, we could have made more savings, we could have gotten more impact, and the country could have also negotiated country-wide agreement with the OEMs. Those are the 5 things I could get from your submissions. But before we proceed, I need to crave the indulgence of Senate Chief Whip, who has been here all along. I didn't want to interrupt the minister's presentation, so please, Chief Whip, please don't whip me. I will have asked you to introduce yourself earlier, but because of the presentation, I wanted us to get a sense of the presentation. If you don't mind, Chief Whip, please introduce yourself, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chairman, for the recognition. My name is sorry,
You used to be in the House of Reps.
Sorry, I'm used to addressing myself as honorable, so sorry for this. My name is Senator Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District, member of this committee.
Any other members from this end?
Yes, this side.
Who have just come?
This side.
This side. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Co-Chairman, distinguished colleagues, invited guests. My name is Senator Kevin Chukwu, member of this committee, representing Enugu East.
Chairman, Co-Chairman, distinguished colleagues, honorable members and invited guests, Honorable Minister, my name is Senator Ireti Kingibe, representing the Federal Capital Territory. I'm a member of this committee.
The only software in the house.
My voice is not loud enough.
Chairman, Co-Chairman, distinguished colleagues, our invited guests, my name is Senator Saliu Mustafa. I represent Kwara Central.
Chairman, Co-Chair, distinguished colleagues, members of the committee, Minister in your entourage, I'm Babangida Husseini, Senator representing Jigawa Northwest, member of the committee.
Good afternoon, Messrs. Chairman and Messrs. Co-Chairman, and our very distinguished August visitors in the month of January. My colleagues, both from the House of Representatives and my 10th Senate. I'm from Ekiti State, land of honor. I represent the South Central District. My name is Senator Yemi Adarabodu. Yes, we have the software and we are the hardware, but I am the hardened wear of the committee. Thank you.
Hardware cannot run without software.
Senator Reti, don't go there. Honorable Kuye.
Thank you, Chairman, the Co-Chairman that are here, distinguished senators and colleagues. My name is Adir Mori Adir. I speak for the good people of Shumolu Federal Constituency. I'm from Lagos, the center of excellence. Yes, the state of aquatic splendor. Why we just had the 30 December.
Chairman, the co-chairman, distinguished senators, honorable colleagues, the minister and the team. My name is Honorable Dr. Midala Usman Balami. I represent Askira Uba Hawul Federal Constituency. I'm from Borno State, and by the leave of the Speaker and the mercy of God, I'm the Deputy Chairman on Communication. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, please I'd like to stand on the protocol that have been established. Mohammed Omar Bia is my name. I speak for the people of Barutain and Kayama Federal Constituency. I come from Kwara State, a member of Committee on Communication.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Co-Chair, distinguished senators here present, honorable colleague, Minister and his team. I'm Representative Salisu Garba Koko. I represent Mayama Koko Bisepara constituency. I'm from Kebbi State, a member of ICT committee. Thank you.
I thought you had introduced yourself earlier. Yes, I have. Oh, okay. There's a new Mazi.
Thank you, Chairman, the co-chair, distinguished senators here present, my honorable members, the minister and your cabinet. Ngwakwala Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State.
Sector rather, to propel us towards our desired position of creating a bigger GDP for the nation. We have taken cognizance of the fact that looking at a capital project of over 400 billion this year, it might be misleading to think that this is indeed a capital allocation from the federal budget. Only 6 billion from that is capital allocation using the envelope system. The remainder is largely World Bank funding, which requires that we also need the legislative approval for this loan to actually materialize. Distinguished colleagues, honorable members, you have the floor to interact, and may I use may I yield the grant to the Chief Whip of the Senate, Honorable Distinguished Mohamed Ali Muguno, to please make his brief remarks.
Surprised when I heard about the capital budget of the ministry, and I came to the irresistible conclusion that we are just paying lip service to the issue of digital economy. If not, there is no way we can allocate 2 billion and 6 billion to such an important ministry that contributes about 18% to our GDP and has the potential of creating employment for our teeming unemployed youth, with the attendant and concomitant effect of reducing insecurity that we have in the country. I think there is a need for this committee, and indeed the appropriation committee, of which I am the deputy chairman, to look at the budget, particularly the capital allocation to this ministry, with a view to addressing it, to bring it in tandem with the gospel that we have been preaching all along of creating a digital economy that will create employment to our teeming unemployed youth. I think there is a need for us to have a second look at that, because we are going to be a laughing stock if we are, for us to announce that this is what we are allocating to such an important sector of our economy. This is my observation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chief Whip. You couldn't have put it better. Luckily enough, you are a member of the leadership of the Senate, and you're also the deputy chairman of the appropriation committee. We will put together a report, and we will require your support. 6 billion to digital economy. It's not something that we should be proud of. Distinguished Senator.
Thank you, Chairman, Co-Chair, distinguished colleagues, honorable members. I want to have some insight into 2 points. Honorable Minister,
two areas. The IGR, revenue generation. Last year, 2 billion projected, 900, that's about 50% achieved, right? Then in 2025, 2 billion again. Is it that you are a 2 billion man going, or what happened? However, I want to know the difficulties you had not realizing 100, only 50%, and now project to 2 billion. Are we not landing at 50% again? One. Two, the little capital allocation of last year, only 39% was released. I know that there was some small changes in way of releasing funds from what it was previous years. Where's your TFA? Am I correct? Yes. The Accountant General will change some things like this. We are working on that because it's running in perpetuity. It's running up. There's preponderance of this performance level in capital release all over. I run in about 16 committees. I run this budget about 14 now. That has been the experience. However, we've already extended that window to June 30th, you are aware. So are we going to capitalize on that extension to realize 100% in due course? If the change in system of releases is the cause of this abysmal performance in releases? Or have you already surrendered? Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished. Anyone from this side? Honorable Kuya, please.
Mr. Chairman, I want to align with our leader, the Chief Whip in the Senate, with the position that it's apparent that the country has been paying lip service to the issue of developing the digital economy, looking at the kind of budget that we're seeing here today, and the supposed improvement in the 2025 budget. And so I heard of a 39% release in the 2024, and we hope that this year there will be an improvement. However, I noticed that, like you clearly pointed out, that from what we see here of the 2025 budget, only 6 billion of it is coming from the federal government. Others are from loans, funding from other sources. And I had the Honorable Minister informed us while presenting the statement that just last year, the sum of 2.5 billion was raised by private companies and all of that. And when you look at the 2024 document presented here, you will not see that. I want to just ask why that was not included in that 2024 presentation.
Okay, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. May I just use this opportunity to commend the Honorable Minister so far on some of the tasks in which he has been doing, because when you have such a meager capital and you have to go outside to beg for resources to use to develop your ICT infrastructure in your own home, for me, I see it as an embarrassment to our nation, honestly. So I have to commend you, because it takes a lot, to get all of these and say, please come and support us. And you are doing it and you are getting it. But we need to be able to do more. At that, Honorable Minister, I just have an observation. On page 9, row 4, capital ZIP, the appropriation was 315,732,638, and there was zero implementation on it. And of course, this is a ZIP aspect or sector of the capital. I want to know why there was no implementation on that sector. That's one. And then two, my second question is, of course, Nigeria as it is, we still rank very, very low in terms of internet usage as compared to the world indexes that has been published. What is the ministry doing to also heighten that usage of internet and the knowledge of especially our youths, to be able to access the internet of this day, because from there they can as well help amplify and take away from the brain drain that we know that the youths experience in this day. Thank you very much.
Maybe the Honorable Minister should answer this round of questions, and then we'll proceed from there. Very briefly, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, just to put things in perspective,
yes,
in context. When you convert, I was just trying to convert this 2 billion.
Yes.
To
dollar.
And I realized that what we budgeted for the whole ministry was just $1.3 billion.
$1.3 billion
for a whole
year.
For the whole country.
Out of which 39% was released.
For the whole country.
It's actually pitiable.
I'm sure the chairman can just give them that amount so that.
I'm actually thinking so. So, Minister, when we meet back at home, remind me.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
Yes, very quickly, so that the ministers can.
Just a quick one. I'm not really. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, my name is Rebushino Edeji. I represent the people of Hussein, Tesiwaju, Kajola, and the Wajo Afira constituency. I'm from Oyo State. In as much as we are sympathetic to the poor budgetary appropriation to the ministry, at the same time, yeah, the mic is not speaking to me, sir.
So, there's no mass in the area.
That's another thing. Yeah. So, to be honest, I don't sometimes pity any ministry, department, including our National Assembly, when we try to complain about poor funding. The world is moving global. You understand? It's about what are the alternative things that we can do to turn things around. If we are given the bread, can we make many other things out of that bread that can still be better off? You understand? The little that is available, let us assume that we are cash strapped in the country. You understand? What is your ministry doing to turn things around? You're a minister that many of these youth are looking forward to actually do so many things. And I believe you have the capacity on your sleeves. Maybe you are not yet there to actually start to discharge all these magical functions and stuff like that. You understand? Yes, on a very good note, you understand? You see, there are so many things that are still there that we can still do to turn things around, make money, you understand? Bring money from investment locally, you understand? So,
I'm sure there's nothing there. Honorable Minister, you have 2 minutes to answer this question. Your time starts now.
Now, I think I'm going to merge the distinguished members. I'm going to merge the two things together. We're all working for government, and I think we should not allow our enemies to paint this administration negatively. Our ICT sector, including the minister and the ministry, is recognized as one of the best in the world today. I had the privilege of visiting the U.S. government with the chairman and co-chair. The respect that we command is not only in mouth. I have a data here. What they are saying in the media is different from the reality. Despite the fact that we're not funded, in Q1 2021, the total FDI to this sector was just slightly below 50 million. In Q1 2022, it was under that. In Q1 2023, it was just around 22 million. In Q1 2024, this country saw FDI of close to 200 million. Q1 2024 was everything and more that was done in 2023 or 2022 or 2021. Nigeria today is rated 100% in terms of vision when it comes to artificial intelligence. We're amongst the first 60 countries. Judged by the UN, the Oxford University rated us when it comes to vision 100%, that we have a clear vision. We are doing extremely well in the last 16 months. The progress in the sector has been notable. The 3MTT program is the largest anywhere in the world, and this is recognized. So we have been performing significantly. And it comes to the question that you also asked, sir. The funding that we get, they're not funding for government. They're funding to steer the sector, which is why they are not funding that can be recognized on the ministry's budget. Because we're going to start the government from money that was being held wouldn't have been released. We were used as a bait. If we didn't come, the previous administration was going to pass it on to President Trump's administration. This is a sector that is contributing significantly, and there's so much more we can do. The fiber project that we've raised money for is one of its kind on the African continent. No other country has raised that kind of money from the DFIs that are funding it. Again, it's because of the trust they have in our system. And distinguished sir, you mentioned the 2 billion. It was not a mistake. This is also money that we saw when I came in. I saw that we were leaving money on the table. So beyond the spectrum that the MNOs buy, you have certain spectrum that the ministry is also responsible for that we make money from. But because the ministry is underfunded, it's not as funded as NCC. So the ministry staff, they are unable to actually track all the people that are using, all the people that are meant to pay on time. They don't have appropriate software to do the tracking. So because of this, they are unable to get the money. We know that this ministry, outside of the agency, can actually generate much more revenue if we have the resources to chase up on those things. In accounting, you call it probably the cost of sales. We do not have that funding. And when I came, the hope was that we were going to be able to get the budget that we put in, but because that budget was reduced, we could not achieve the 2 billion. Again, our budget has gone up a bit. We think we may be able to achieve more than, at least if we don't hit the 2 billion, we set the target for ourselves, we'll be able to go. So I think I've answered nearly all the questions that were posed. If there's any that I didn't answer, I'll be more than happy to take them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Minister. We are going to round up. I could see that you are extremely lucky, Honorable Minister, and your team. This is the time that members are extremely very busy from one meeting to the other. To have principal officers of both the Senate and the House of Representatives attending your presentation is a sign of commitment to what you are doing. And what the information you have shared today is extremely very delightful. That so much is being done. Honorable Shaka, because you represent Nigeria, from Asa and in Kwara State, and you are between South and North, and you are also a member of the youth parliamentarians, and I don't want to be seen to
I don't want to have an end-SARS protest in the National Assembly. So you have 1 minute.
Thank you, Chairman, Co-Chairman. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your insightful presentation. I only have 2 questions. And the first one is around data protection and data management for our growing population. How is the ministry positioning itself to protect Nigerians' data as we are growing? And then the next question is, in terms of insecurity, what is the ministry doing to collaborate efficiently and effectively with security agencies to reduce things like banditry, kidnapping, etc.?
Okay, quickly.
Mr. Chairman, can I just quickly add to that security matter?
Yes, Honorable.
Because as a chairman of Committee on Public Asset, I'm concerned about the frequent attack on critical national assets in the country right now. The last experience was the one they had in Canada. And I'm wondering what the ministry is doing now to make sure that those critical assets,
critical national assets, particularly those in the digital economy space. Because you are wearing white, I presume your heart is clean.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Mine is just a comment, and just to appreciate the Honourable Minister and the team, and also to quickly maybe remind us that the number of unemployed young people in Nigeria is very alarming. And this particular ministry is critical in addressing this in terms of job creation, in terms of capacity building, digital skills, and others. I know we've been doing a lot, but I want us to give that a lot of focus this year, going forward, to see how we can do and reduce the burden of unemployed young people in Nigeria. Indirectly, we are also addressing the insecurity and other vices that are happening in Nigeria. I want to say that you are a young person just like me. Let's have that attention. Of course, no. Please, we are Honourable Minister and the team. I think this should be given a priority. Thank you.
Let me remind members, we're going to have a very brief executive session, so we need to draw the curtain on the questions now. Whatever other question we have, we'll take it to an executive session. So if you permit me, let the Honourable Minister respond to this, and then we'll do 1 or 2 things, then we'll go to executive session. Honourable Minister, beautiful Minister.
Thank you, Minister. And thanks for the questions as well. Again, I think we have to appreciate the National Assembly for the role that it plays in ensuring that Nigeria is now one of the few countries on the African continent with a Data Protection Act. And we have the commissioner here, and I know that the co-chairs also played a significant role in this process. The president signed the act in last year, as you know, and I have extreme respect for the commissioner because he's extremely dedicated to this work. In fact, there are so many countries in the world that are now learning from what we're doing. This is a fast-moving space because of the rate at which more people are getting online and we're generating data. We have to continuously find ways to ensure that the laws and government can be above all the vices that we're seeing. In fact, yesterday, we launched the first data protection officer training. And it's also in line with Honorable what you were mentioned in terms of youth. This is a ministry under this administration that the first thing we did was invest heavily in training young people. And there's evidence of that all over social media. They're extremely happy. And we're not stopping. So part of it is to look at every corner of our ministry to say, how can we create job opportunities? So we're already training 500 people selected from across the country. Like I mentioned earlier, even the fiber optic cable that we want to lay, we're already working with BBI to say we don't have enough people that will help us do the digging. So if we can get about 10,000 Nigerians selected from all over the country, they're busy helping us to dig this fiber and lay it. Not only are we going to improve the quality of communications, but we're also going to create jobs. What we've also spotted is that fiber optic cable deployment is now becoming a must for countries across Africa. Because outside of South Africa and maybe Egypt, and perhaps Tunisia, a lot of the countries have a serious deficit in cable. This is going to become a big business. We want Nigerian companies not only lay in Nigeria, but become companies that will provide these services to neighboring countries as well. And we want our people to become the employees that will go and do this work. We've seen what companies like South Africa did off the back of building a global business. They can now create superior jobs, not only add to the economy. So this is something we're focusing on. On security, we understand our core. You cannot secure a society if you don't have strong communication technologies. You can't. And what most people don't pay attention to is that historically, we've left investment of telecommunications infrastructure to private companies. And these private companies will only go to where they can make money immediately. In fact, they use a data set, which is called nighttime satellite data, which will look down on any country at night, and they will see where light exists, and that's where they will put their money, because those lights for them indicate economic activities. But we are making a case that there are so many communities. For instance, I farm in a community called Imashayi in Ogun State. They've not had electricity for the last 7 days. And this is a community that there's a lot of economic activities there. They are the ones who need connectivity the most. So the case we're now making, which the president actually raised with me, is that we shouldn't leave this to them. As much as we're laying the fiber, we've also seen the opportunity for government to step in and take a special purpose vehicle that works with the private sector to deploy another 70,000 towers across the country, just so that we can plug the gap. When we do this, our small businesses who are stakeholders in the sector will find job opportunities, there will be contracts for them. This is an opportunity that we'll use to create prosperity across the country. But also bear in mind, they will have to employ people to do the deployment. And these are the projects that I'm hoping as a minister that I can get your support to ensure that not only do we pass them, that they actually start immediately. Because if we can start, like the fiber project, we're hoping it will start in September. If we can start this project in September, not only can we start to show the dividend of this government at this time to our people, but we can also create job opportunities for them.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. If we leave you, you will have no doubt that this is what you have been doing to mesmerize World Bank to give you money. I'm extremely very proud of you, of what you are doing. For full disclosure, the minister is my constituent. If you had not done very well, I will have disowned you. But you have done. You are a standard bearer of Ogun State, Gateway State. You may not clap internally, clap internally, don't clap outside. One of the things we need to note, and I hope the clerks are noting this, the data protection, National Data Protection Commission has been inadvertently left out of the budget. So as we are preparing the report of this session, please remember to include them. It was because it was a new agency. They were not in existence before, so the template they were using to give figures to to MDAs didn't include them because they were not in existence before. So please, the clerk of the committee, please remember to put them in, as part of the agency that we need to do some corrigendum for appropriation as we proceed with this process.
I think I have a motion. I was thinking of moving a motion.
Please.
Yes. Mr. Chairman.
Feel free. Since you are sitting directly opposite former leader of the House and now Chief Whip. Mr. Chief Whip, should he move a motion? Okay, please move it very quickly.
Thank you, Leader. I want to move a motion that we request of the Committee on Appropriation to review upward in view of the critical and the very difficult terrain that this ministry is going, and the need for us to improve services in our digital economy. I want to move that there be a review upward of their appropriation for the year 2025. I so move.
That's a motion, and I'm looking in the direction of the Chief Whip.
I cannot decide in the arena because it will come to me.
No, absolutely. Let me have a seconder. Most distinguished.
Thank you, distinguished Chairman, Co-Chair, distinguished colleagues, honorable members. My name is Bino Siaro, Adama South, a member of the Communications Committee of the Senate. I do second the motion as ably moved by the honorable member. I so second.
Those who are in support of the motion, that in view of the critical nature of
the Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy and the importance of digital economy to our national growth development, that the Appropriation Committee is hereby requested to appropriately review the allocations to Federal Ministry of Communication, Information and Digital Economy in 2025 budget. Those who are in support of this motion say aye. Aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. In view of this, we have had a very beautiful session and I think an engaging session with the Honorable Minister and his team. At this point, with the leave of my co-chairman, we will go into a executive session. And at this point in time, the media, please go and start preparing your report. Note fully well that the joint committees of the Senate and House of Representatives feel concerned about poor funding of this ministry and this sector, and therefore move a motion for the upward review. Go and start preparing your report. And also let your report also include the good effort of the ministry and the minister in particular to source funding from creatively from non-budgetary sources. And you have enough to do. Also report about